In this video we will discuss the infusion of lurchers with bull blood versus infusion of lurchers with Patterdale blood and the benefits and the drawbacks of both. So first of all, what is a lurcher? Lurcher is normally a combination of a running dog with another dog. Sometimes even a combination of different running dogs are called lurchers. But in most cases they bring some other blood in, for example more of a collie blood or oftentimes bull blood. So in this case bull refers to oftentimes to Staffordshire Bull Terrier or American Pitbull Terrier, sometimes also to American Bulldog blood or other sorts of bull, for example the English Bull Terrier. But we will focus primarily on working bull type of dogs, which are American Pitbull Terrier or Staffordshire Bull Terrier, oftentimes of Irish lines. And those dogs bring as much power and courage as you could have per kilogram to the table. So that's a big benefit, because also running dogs bring as much speed as compared to their size to the table. And the running dogs that they normally use are in most cases either greyhound or whippet, and the combination with bull blood is most often done with greyhound, and that is type of lurcher is also called the bull grey. The dogs that you see here are Patterdale Terriers. So why is the greyhound mostly coupled to the bull blood instead of, for example, whippets? That's because the greyhound frame is a lot bigger and therefore carries the bull blood a lot better. So you lose less speed to the additional bulk and still have a lot of the benefits of the dogs being capable of also handling very strong prey. And the strong prey could be, for example, a hawk, because American Pitbull Terriers and Staffordshire Bull Terriers of working lines are quite capable of handling hawk. Also English Bull Terriers of working lines are capable of doing that, but are quite heavy dogs, so to say. And therefore, when you have a bigger frame, this has a bigger synergy, so to say. And also, of course, when you have a bigger type of dog suitable for bigger prey, you also want to have the dog not too much scaled down, because if you, for example, would use a Patterdale Terrier on a greyhound, you will also decrease the size quite a lot. And this is not so much the case if you use bull blood on them, especially American Pitbull Terrier blood. The benefit of English Bull Terrier blood could be that they have a little bit longer nose to begin with, albeit being less of a working dog, and also oftentimes they are a little bit less dog aggressive. Okay, the drawbacks of American Pitbull Terrier blood are that you increase dog aggression to a degree, but with the greyhound, which is quite a docile type of dog, a lot more than a whippet is, you can counter this to a high degree. But also, you do not need to keep them as half crosses, so 50% bull and 50% greyhounds. Oftentimes they are so good at what they do that if they only use them for foxes, for example, and chasing them down and also handling them, they will get to 75% or even higher of greyhound, coupled with only 25% of bull blood. So that's also a benefit to take into consideration. Another drawback is that the feet of, for example, American Pitbull Terriers and Staffordshire Bull Terriers are not the best for running, especially coupled to their explosive acceleration and strength. So when the terrain is not that good, Also, pure greyhounds that are of racing stock often have a lot of trouble working the terrain, because the terrain can be uneven, there can be some potholes in it, and when you express so much speed and power towards that underground, you can have troubles, of course. So this is taken into consideration, and therefore, for example, collie breeds of working stock are quite good in the mix as well. Another drawback would be that the primary origin of the bull blood was not that of a hunting dog. They were more of a combat type of dog against each other, for example, or for example against the bull, when you look at the original bulldogs. But that is a benefit in the courage, because they will go even when the odds are not in their favor at all. But they don't have that hunting instinct that, for example, a purebred hunting dog does have. Then onwards to the Patterdale Terrier, because the Patterdale Terrier brings also a lot of the benefits of the bull blood to the table. They also carry some overlap with bull blood to the Northumberland Terrier, especially. Benefits of the Patterdale Terrier is that they come with 3 different coats, so that you have a little bit more choice of what type of coat you want. Their skin is a lot tougher as compared to Staffordshire Bull Terrier, especially for their size. They are in a smaller size, which can be detrimental, but also sometimes beneficial. And they have better feet because they also dig a lot, because they are earth dogs. And they have a high hunting drive, because they are purebred hunting dogs, in contradiction to, for example, bull blood. Another thing to consider is that in contradiction to the bull blood, which brings maximum power and courage for their weight, because they were contending in weight classes, Patterdale Terrier brings maximum power and courage for their chest circumference, because they are earth dogs. Another thing to take into consideration is that Patterdale Terriers are one of the only breeds that are, like other Fel Terriers, capable of collapsing their chests. So these Patterdale Terriers are a type of Fel Terrier, black Fel Terrier to be more precise, that has evolved into the Patterdale Terrier, which is an elite working Fel Terrier. But they're able to collapse the chest to get through narrow burrows, for example, when they hunting fox or badger, or they get otherwise stuck and would die. So that can be a benefit if you have to work your way through the terrain. For example, bushes. This could be a very good attribute. And it also brings me to the reason why Patterdale Terriers are much more combined with Whippets, because Whippet is a smaller type of running dog compared to the greyhounds, albeit being bigger in size often than the bull blood, for example American Pitbull Terrier, but weighing a lot less, and they are therefore a little bit less speedy, but they are more agile, and that's coupled to a smaller dog can be beneficial, especially if they are also bushing. So they are pushing the quarry, the animals that they are hunting, out of the bushes and then chase them down also in the open field. And then it can also be a benefit that you have a different type of coat which protects more. To take things into consideration about what I mentioned, the difference between bull bloods and Patterdale bloods in the maximum power they deliver compared to their size. So Patterdales do that compared to their chest circumference, and American Pitbull Terrier, for example, does this compared to their weight. So the benefit of compared to the weight is that, especially in a running dog, you will have a dog that is quite light compared to its muscles. Whereas if in a Patterdale Terrier you have a very heavy dog compared to its chest circumference. So So also chest circumference can be a little bit limited. This is again used to breed in the area for a running dog. Lung capacity, of course, a big thing. So you get, all in all, if you had the same size of both dogs, so a very small American Pitbull Terrier or very big Patterdale Terrier, combined with the same type of running dog, you might get a heavier dog for the size with Patterdale Terrier, which is a little bit contradictory because they are smaller dogs in general. But for the same height of the withers, they bring a lot more mass. So you're losing paw length for the same kilograms. That's it in short. So that can be a detrimental factor, but can also be beneficial, especially when you're bushing. So, for example, pushing animals out of those bushes, then a lot of strength and not too high body that is also collapsible with the chest is a benefit. Also, Patterdale Terriers are of course purebred hunting dogs, especially for earthwork, being foxes and badgers, but sometimes also used, for example, above ground. In the States against raccoon, but also a raccoon dog in Europe and Asia, but also against hogs, swine, so feral pigs and the likes. And of course they are a lot less capable than, for example, a bull, American Pitbull Terrier, which is a lot heavier. They have a lot more hunting characteristics, so for example smell, sense, and knowing what to hunt instead of being dominant against each other. So that can be a big benefit in the whole. So